So process of distillation of water is very crucial in laboratory. The reason behind this is, so water that we get from the source, okay, in the laboratory it is mainly from the tap. What we get the water is from the tap. The tap water generally contains many mineral ions that are present, along with other things also. There might be some amount of mud also be present, some amount of oils will be present. Okay, so all these interfere with our test. So whenever we are doing important tests, these impurities that are present in the tap water will interfere with our test, and it gives us a wrong result or a false result, so which is not very useful in any capacity. So to get a proper and accurate result, we require to remove all these impurities from the tap water. The process of removal of these impurities is called as distillation. Okay, so let us go into the session. Now, distillation is a process of purifying water by heating and cooling, like one of you said. So it is an instrument used for, okay, distillation apparatus is an instrument used for preparation of this distilled water. So when we purify water by heating and cooling, we get distilled water. The apparatus or the instrument used for preparation of distilled water is called as distillation apparatus. So distilled water is prepared from tap water. Okay, so tap water will be our source from which we will remove all the impurities and produce or prepare distilled water. So during distillation, the interfering ions present in the tap water will be removed, and we get a water which is free of all these impurities. So let us see what are the parts and components of a distillation apparatus. There is a still. Okay, so what is a still? So still will be our container where we place the water to be purified. Okay, it will be made from either stainless steel or heavy gauge brass metal. The idea behind this is the still is the part which is going to get heated. So heat source, whatever that is present, will be either located on the still or under the still. So for this, the metal that is used for preparation of the still should withstand high temperatures. Okay, so it should withstand heat. So either we use stainless steel because it is not going to react with the heat and produce or give out some ions, or heavy gauge brass metal. The next important advantage of using these metals is it is not going to get rusted easily, and also it is not going to shed any ions into the water. Next, there will be a steam condenser tube, and that is also made up of stainless steel. Heating coils are there, that is responsible for generation of the heat and evaporation of water. There is an inlet valve for the water to come inside the distillation apparatus. So inlet valve will be connected to the tap, from where the tap water will enter the still. Then there is an overflow pipe. So whenever there is an overflow, means increased water has entered the still, there is a medium that is present which will remove these overflowing liquids. The extra liquid will be removed through the overflow pipe. There is a lid to make sure that the evaporated liquids are not getting or escaping. Okay, it remains within the still, and then it goes into the condenser tubes. And then there is an outlet from which we get the distilled water. Principle of distillation. So how distillation actually works? So water that is present in the still, which is tap water, gets heated by the heating coil, and water vapor is generated. The first step is heating the water that is present in the still. when it reaches the boiling temperature, water boils and it evaporates. Okay, when it evaporates, water vapor will be generated. So these vapors that are generated from the still then are collected in a condenser and cooled using a coolant. Okay, so water vapor generated, it is cooled using a coolant. So when this coolant is passing and the temperature of the water vapor starts to decrease, it will come back to the liquid form, and theoretically whatever liquid that we are getting at this point should be free of all the impurities. So let us go into little bit more detail of how it works. So when we boil water, it evaporates and the physical state of water changes from liquid to gas. Similarly, when we cool the gas, we get water. So that is the idea behind condensation and evaporation. So first step in distillation is evaporation. So we heat the water that is present in the still. So it is going to evaporate into water vapors, steam. So we direct this steam into a component called as reflux condenser, into a condenser, where when it is passing through the condenser, at the same time the condenser is also going to circulate coolant, or here we use tap water as our coolant. So the role of the coolant is to decrease the temperature of the water vapor. So as the temperature starts to decrease, what happens to this water vapor? It's going to change its physical form again, physical state again. Now it is going to convert from gaseous state to liquid state. So whatever impurities that was present from the tap water, when evaporation will remain in the still, it is not going to get evaporated. Only water will evaporate. So after that water vapor is condensed back into the liquid, theoretically that liquid should be free of all the impurities. So this liquid that we collect is called as distilled water. Okay, so let us see the working principle. So how actually it works? Now what we saw, we just saw the theoretical principle of condensation and evaporation. Now let us see how this distillation apparatus actually works. Right. So inlet is connected to the tap using a rubber tubing. Very important that we use rubber tubing, not plastic, because of the heat generated by the heating coil, the plastic might melt, while rubber can withstand some amount of heating and cooling cycles. Now inlet is connected to the tap using a rubber tubing. So this is the part where tap water will enter into still. So what is the still? Still is a metal container that is present, which is going to hold our liquid to be distilled. So there is an overflow pipe that controls the water and ensures that only sufficient water is present over the heating coil. Now what happens is, when we connect to the tap, so there's a chance that it can overflow. Okay, so there is an overflow pipe. The limit for that will be marked. So if the liquid goes beyond that limit in the still, additional or extra water is removed from the still using an overflow pipe that is present in the still. Now once that is over, the coil starts heating. Okay, we switch on the coil, or we can use any other heating devices. Now this is going to start heating the water. When water reaches the boiling temperature of 100 degrees Celsius, it starts to evaporate. When it evaporates, we direct and collect the water vapors in the condenser. So this condenser is connected to separately to a different tap, which is going to circulate fresh, cool water throughout the condenser to make sure that temperature is decreased below 100 degrees Celsius. As the water vapor encounters the cooling or the coolant, the temperature of that water vapor will start to decrease. Okay, so as the temperature gets below 100 degrees Celsius, the water vapor will change its physical state into liquid, and it will be collected through an outlet pipe. So it flows through the outlet pipe and we collect it and we get distilled water. So this is more representative of how distillation was done some time back, and it is a very small setup. What we saw initially is for large scale distillation. If you say industrial level of distillation, if you want to use, you cannot use this because it's going to take long period of time. But this one is more representative of what we have learned or we have seen in our student life. Okay, so here you can see the burner is used as a heating device. So the still is this part which contains the water. Okay, so it is named as distillation flask. As the temperature increases, when the temperature goes above 100 degrees Celsius, the liquid will start to boil and the physical state of that liquid starts to change into gas. So this water vapor slowly gets up. So there is no way to escape here. So that it is covered with the cork. So this water vapor will then enter into the condenser. So condenser contains coiled tubing, okay, so that more coolant is exposed to the water vapor. So as this is passing, you can see there is a inlet and outlet for the cooling water. So the cooling water will enter, the temperature of the condenser starts to decrease. So when it decreases, the gaseous state of water converts back into liquid state, and we can collect it from an outlet pipe into a receiving flask which contains distilled water. So we have to also note some precautions to be maintained during this process. Okay, let us see it one by one. Number one, whenever you are using, be it your glass apparatus that we have seen in the previous slide, or an industrial level where metals are used and the electric coils are used, make sure that the water is adequate in the still. The quantity of water is already there before starting the process. Otherwise, everything will overheat and there's a chance of a fire hazard. So make sure there is some amount of water that is present before you start the process. If you are using a metal type of distillation apparatus, always make sure that the water level is always above the heating coils when you are performing distillation. So it should not go less than the coil. So it will be a recipe for fire. So that's it actually, when precautions that you are supposed to carry out during performance of distillation. But there are some steps that are required to maintain this distillation apparatus. As I had said earlier, the tap water itself contains lots of impurities. So when distillation happens, the evaporation happens, all these impurities remain in the still. Okay. So after every distillation run or when you complete distillation process, you have to make sure you clean all the apparatus. You have to clean the still, you have to clean the condensers, you have to clean the inlet and outlet pipes to make sure any impurities that remain from the previous distillation does not interfere when you are performing the distillation for the next time. Okay. So that ends the session. Any questions? Right. So we'll continue with the reflux condensers. Okay, so what are condensers? It's a device that is responsible for changing the state of the gas into liquid by cooling. Okay, so it is a device that is responsible for condensation. Okay, so as I said, condenser is an instrument that condenses the hot water vapor back into the liquid form of water. So condenser is defined as a device that reduces a gas or vapor to liquid. This is more technical definition of condenser. A device that reduces gas or vapor to liquid. Same thing when we apply into distillation of water, hot water vapor into water, it's the same thing. So where do we see these condensers? Now condensers are not only used within the laboratory, outside the laboratory also we have some experience with the condensers. It is used in mainly cooling devices, refrigerators, freezers and ACs. If you see the refrigerator at your homes, if you look from the behind, at the bottom there is a black color condenser. So it is going to condense the coolant. Okay. So that is where the heat exchange is going to happen and the cooling of your refrigerator or freezer or AC happens at that point. Okay, that is where condensers are important. Not only in laboratory, we can see condensers outside also, where roughly they perform the same function. So our topic for today is reflex condenser. Now, reflex condenser is a device that used to cool the vapors emitted by hot liquid and change its physical state from gas to liquid. Okay. So what is a reflex condenser? It's a device used to cool the vapors emitted by hot liquid and change its physical state from gas to liquid. So that is our thing. So this is how a reflex condenser will look like. So this part is connected to the still, okay, or the distillation flask. So this is where the water vapor will enter into the condenser. You can see there is a coiled glass tubing for circulation of coolant. So cold water will enter from here and exit from this outlet valve. So this coiling increases the surface area where the coolant will interact with the vapor. That means more cooling effect can be generated. Okay. So this coiled glass tube is called as reflux ring. This is where when the water vapor comes into contact with the reflex ring, the condensation will happen. And the whole thing, when condenses and it is collected from the liquid, is collected from an outlet valve from where we get distilled water. So this all of this reflux ring is covered in a glass jacket. Okay, why glass? Number one, glass is inert. It's not going to interfere with the test. 1 second, it's raining. Okay, so why we have to cover everything in glass? Because number one, glass is inert. It's not going to react with the water vapor. Second thing, glass cannot rust. Glass is easy to clean. So everything is, then also glass gives us an advantage of transparency. So we can actually see inside when we are cleaning. Okay, so glass is used for that reason. Now, when we talk about industrial things, metal applications are also there that we are not worrying about. Our focus is only about the glass condensers. So let me repeat the components again. We have a condenser jacket. The whole glass jacket is made up of glass, and the reflux ring and interaction of the water vapor with the coolant happens within the glass jacket. There's a reflex ring, a spiral glass tubing present within the glass jacket through which the coolant is going to circulate. Okay. There is a water inlet and water outlet for passing of cooling water to ensure there is efficient reflux happening. So those are the parts and components. Let us see what is the principle of this condensation. So water present in the still is heated and evaporated. We know this water vapor then enters the condenser through the connection with the still. So when vapor pass through the reflex ring, that is the coiled glass ring inside, the coiling is there to make sure that there is high surface contact with the coolant. So when the vapors is passed, this cool tap water which is made to circulate through the condenser will condense the water vapors that is passing through and convert it into water, which will flow out into the collecting container. Okay, so this collecting container is going to collect water that is pure and free of all the impurities. Okay, let us have a fast recap. So condenser, we know it is used, it is responsible for reducing gas or vapor to liquid. It is used not only in laboratory, it's also used in household items such as refrigerators and freezers, ACs. Reflex condenser is used to convert the vapors into liquid. Right. So what are the components? There is a condenser jacket made up of glass inside which all the components will be present. There is a reflux ring. It's a spiral glass tubing for the flow of coolant. And the coiling makes sure that there is high surface contact with the vapors. There is an water inlet and outlet for the coolant from which the coolant is pumped in and removed from the water. So based on the principle of condensation, the water present in the still when heated will evaporate. The vapor will enter into the condenser through the connection of to the still. The vapor then pass through the reflex ring, the coiled surface, coiled tubing within the condenser jacket. So when this happens, the temperature of the steam will be reduced. As the temperature is reduced, there is condensation happening. The physical state of gas will change to liquid and we get distilled water which is collected at the end. So that completes the session. Any questions?